same place as the other one. How about that?
Tell me about your experience.
I can't hear you.
Tell me about your experience meeting Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
How did you think of that?
I had a little bird.
So I got an award the other day. I'm not quite sure for what. But in Hollywood, everybody is trying to raise money for charity all the time. So every time you turn around, they have a big award dinner. It costs a lot for a table. There are going to be some celebrities there, so you've got to go. And the money goes to charity. So there was an award called the Producers Guild.
Producers Guild Award. He got awarded the Vanguard Award.
Woo!
I have no idea what it means. It was called the Vanguard Award, but I was in good company. There was Steven Spielberg got one, and the guy Les Moonves, who's the head of CBS Television, and Don Mitchell, who's a producer of a million shows, and me. And it's funny because Steve Spielberg came over to talk to me. I had met him once before. In fact, he said to me once, "You know, Stan, you do the same thing that I do, except my pictures move." I thought that was kind of nice. That was years ago. So anyway, I'm there at the dinner, and Steve Spielberg came over to talk to me, and someone said to me, "Wow, you and Spielberg, you know him, and you were talking to him?" And I said, "Yeah, I hope it doesn't go to his head." But anyway, and then Brad Pitt and his wife came by, and they said hello. And I got to tell you, Angelina Jolie is 1,000,000 times more beautiful in real life than she is on the screen. Wow. And I always thought I was the best looking guy. You know, people were always mistaking me for Brad Pitt. But man, the two of them together, it's like you're watching a fairy tale, you know? So anyway, they just came by and they said hello. I gave them some acting tips and I let them go. Any other? Yes.
Okay, I wanted to ask, of all the characters you created, who would you most want to trade spots with? Like, who would you want? Who's like who would you want to live?
You don't ask easy questions. Of all the characters I've created, who would I most want to change places with?
Yeah.
Maybe Thor, it wouldn't be so bad. Years ago, some kid, sent me a hammer that he had made as a gift. A little wooden hammer, he made it. I still have it, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I like Thor, and then I can say things like, "So be it." Shout, and, you know, I love that according to you. Tell them very funny. So I'll say Thor. Yes, sir.
What do you do when you're not writing comic books?
What do I do when I'm not writing comic books? I go to conventions.
I didn't get a chance.
I'll get you one for you. Be the last person. I'll get you something for you.
No, I write comics. No, actually, I do other things. I write comics, and I formed a little company called POW Entertainment, P-O-W, exclamation point. And you're saying to yourself, why is there an exclamation point? And the reason is so it won't look like a prisoner of war. Figured out the So POW, and I'm sure you've all figured this out already, P-O-W in our company stands for Purveyors of Wonder. Rather flowery, but that's me. And we work on movies and television shows and digital things, whatever that means. And so I keep busy, but everything that I do, I hope, is in the form of entertainment. Because the most important thing is to entertain people, because people need, and I never realized this. I'll be serious for a moment. When I was young, I resented the fact that I was making money doing comic books, because I felt there were other people who were building bridges and doing scientific research and things that mattered. And I'm writing these dopey comic books. And then I began to realize people would come over to me and tell me how much they enjoyed them and how much pleasure they gave them. And I began to realize how important, whether you're a comic book writer or an actor or a singer or a an athlete, or how important it is to do things that entertain people. because most people, almost everybody, you got so many worries and things, and you need entertainment. It's the one thing that keeps you going. So now I'm very happy to do what I do, whereas years ago I felt I was not doing a good thing. And that's as serious as I'm going to get. Are there any other questions? Yes, right there.
Have you ever met Bob King?
Pardon me?
Have you ever met Bob King?
I've met Bob Kane. I've had dinner with Bob. Who do you think taught him how to write Batman? Bob Kane is a funny guy. He's the exact opposite of me. We would go to a restaurant, and he was the greatest guy in the world. I loved him. We were good friends, but he embarrassed me all the time. We'd sit down in a restaurant, the waiter would come over, and I'd say, I'll have a hamburger or whatever. And he'd say, do you know who I am? I'm Bob Kane. I created Batman. I'll show you. And he'd draw a picture of Batman on the table. Well, that's who I am. Bob, you don't have to tell him. It isn't important. And wherever he went, boy, he was so proud of having done Batman. And he always, they did the big Batman movie before Spider-Man or before any of our movies were done. He used to rip me about it all. Yeah, you with your Marvel comics. Did you see how much money the Batman movie made? And just my luck, he died before they made the Spider-Man movie. I hope you're watching. Yeah, I know Bob King. Yes, sir.
Hey, how come Spider-Man started out with web shooters instead of just already having web powers in the first place?
I figured there'd be a toughie. When I first did Spider-Man, I wanted to show what a great science student Peter Parker was, how clever he was. And I knew that spiders weave webs. So I thought, I'm going to have him to show how smart he is. He creates a type of web fluid, some sort of a sticky fluid, and he puts a wrist around it. He puts something around his wrist, and it contains the liquid. And when he pushes a button on it, it'll shoot out that liquid and it'll stick, and he can swing from place to place. I never thought of him swinging the way he does in the movies. I mean, he shoots it out to a building 10 miles away and he hits it and he goes swinging. But I thought that would show how clever he is, that he can create something like that. And also, I like the idea of him having the web fluid around his wrist, because then, when I was writing the stories, I could have incidents where he ran out of web fluid and he couldn't swing anymore. What would he do? However, originally, when we were going to do the Spider-Man movie, Jim Cameron was going to do it first, and he wrote a 50-page, not a script, what they call a treatment of what the story would be if he did it. And he had the webs just coming out of his wrist, organically they call it, not using a web shooter. He figured if he has spider power, he should be able to shoot his